Please welcome the Vice President of Professional Services and a co-founder of Conductor, Mr. Stefan Pachayo.
Hello, C3. I am ecstatic for more reasons than one to be here. One, because it's almost my 10-year anniversary at this company, and we have been working to make this conference amazing for so many years for all of you. Has everyone had an awesome time so far today? Well, we have a treat for you. There was a little news, if you haven't heard, which I know we've talked about a small merger you might have heard of between two really awesome companies, and I'm lucky enough to be on stage and introduce co-founder and CEO of WeWork, Adam Neumann, and co-founder and CEO of Conductor, Seth Besmertnik.
New York City, please go easy on me tonight. New York City, please go easy on me.
Let's do this.
All right, I got it.
Settle in.
I got it, I'm
Settle in.
comfortable.
All right. Adam, a lot of people have heard of WeWork, but I had the pleasure, as did Seth, and a few other conductors actually, to attend your company kickoff 2 years ago, your company kickoff this year, and we've been working together for over a year and a half. We've experienced WeWork, we've seen this passion, this drive, this amazing thing that's really hard to express, and I've seen you express it. So what I'd love to ask you is, as you see WeWork, something that maybe people think of just a co-working space, which is so much more than that, what do you see WeWork as? What is the point of what you've built?
First of all, thank you for having me. It's awesome. The weather outside is so crazy, and you come here and there's nice, real energy. Conductors, you call? I love that. Conductors?
Yeah.
For all the conductors here, we like to say in WeWork, welcome home. The most important thing for WeWork when they choose to partner or merge with another company is culture. And you guys have that done and dialed in so well, and don't underestimate how hard it is to build a great culture in the tough environment that we live in, and even harder to build a great culture in the tough industry that you chose, because empowering other people, humanizing marketing is not simple, it's almost never been done before. So being able to deliver something like that is so exciting, and I couldn't be more excited to have you guys join, and separate. I know we have customers here also, but on a separate occasion, we're going to take the time, and I'm going to sit with all of you and welcome you personally. But I couldn't be more excited, so thank you for that. In WeWork, we like to create a world where people do what they love. We want to make a life and not just a living. And what does that mean? You know, 10 years ago, technology, social media, companies, they promised us that technology will bring us together. Well, I gotta tell you, I've been observing a little bit what's happening around the world right now, and I don't feel like we've been brought together. I actually feel like a lot of times technology is pulling us apart. I tell this story sometimes, but I have a sister who is now 20 years old. She lives in Israel. When she was 16, about 4 years ago, WeWork was starting to warm up. I went to Israel. Her name is Ofer. I said, Ofer, what are you doing? He said, oh, I have so many friends. I have 1,000 friends on Facebook and 2,000 followers on Instagram. And I'm working on 2 phones and 1 computer, and I don't sleep the whole night because I'm talking to so many friends. And I said, wait, Ofer, I'm confused. When I was your age in Israel, 16, we went outside, we partied, we got in trouble a little bit, we did some fun. Where's the fun? I said, no, this is my fun. I said, no, that can't be your fun. And she's a very smart girl and very pretty and very social, but she wasn't being social because she thought that this was her reality. She thought that leveraging technology to communicate with as many people as possible, swiping right, swiping left, liking, disliking. She thought that, do we have any Facebook customers here?
No.
Okay, good. I don't want to offend anyone. But she thought that represented her social life. And I said to her, Ofer, It's about real connection. It's about treating other people the way you want to be treated. It's about being part of something greater than yourself. It's about actually delivering in actions and not just in words or stories or pictures, but actually going for that experience. And all that interaction with my sister just explained to me how important our mission is of creating a world where people make a life. And the secret of success in WeWork, for us, people think we're a co-working space. We don't take it personally. It's fine. 80,000 companies have replicated us and tried to open co-working space all over the world. The only mistake is we're not a co-working space. I'm not sure what they're copying. And the interesting thing is, if you think of Amazon and books, and Amazon used books to enter into the larger category of e-commerce, WeWork is using desks and co-working to enter into the larger category of life. And what's bigger than human capital? And where do you spend more hours of the day than in the office? And then right after WeWork comes We Live. And when we can supply you a world where if you choose to, you could be a global member of this earth, you could be a member of We, and with that membership, you have access to physical space all over the world, you have friends, you have colleagues, you have customers, you have houses and apartments globally, you can live 2 months in each place, you can live a year in the same place. We just launched We Grow, which is our new school, so you can send your kids into a school where we help. Our mission in the school is to unleash every child's superpower. And superpower is the kind of words we use in WeWork because every single person has a superpower. We all do. You have one and you have one. And I know these two have ones. I've gotten to know. We actually have more than one. But part of what's important in life is actually finding that superpower and celebrating it. Sometimes we grow up and our parents, our grandparents, someone told us we should be this, we should do that. Society says this is cool, that is cool. Well, fuck that. Because it's not true. Don't tell me what I'm going to be and don't tell me what I'm great at. I'm going to discover through trial and error, through experiences, what are the things that inspire me. And the secret of success, in our opinion, is you take passion, you take intention. That's a good intention. You put it together with something real, with something that you love doing. You bring those two together. That's a business. That's a lifestyle. That's a career. That's what we do in WeWork, with a few words. It would take much longer to really explain everything, but it's a good start.
So let's throw this one out there.
Please.
You both have known each other for quite some time.
Long time. How long?
Long time.
Long time.
Long time.
Farouk?
Since 22 in
We met in 2000, and then we reconnected in 2012, and then we reconnected.
No, we met 2002.
2002.
2002.
2002.
I
Reconnected in 2012.
Yeah.
Then reconnected again in 2016.
So the reason I bring that up is because it feels like maybe the universe and some forces have been driving both of you guys together. You both
See
were
why
at
this
Baruch.
is our type of company? People talk about the universe.
I mean, it's true, right?
That's what I wanna hear.
But it's true, right? And so you two being driven closer together, you've both started great organizations and grown great organizations, and you've had your own trials and tribulations, but you keep meeting each other along the way. So let me ask you each, tell me what each other's superpower are.
I think Adam's superpower is what we just experienced. It's seeing the future. It's bringing life to the future, and it's getting everybody inspired to believe.
I like that. I think with Seth, and I'll say this from before. So we hung out at school, and Seth was the hardest working person in school. And he was working on this business and that business.
Not working on schoolwork.
No, business. He was working on this business and that business, and he was doing this. And I was like, well, let's party a little. And he was like, I don't have time to party. We're working here. And then afterwards, I did start a little business. It was very unsuccessful. I told him about it. He was like, that shit's not going to work. And he was right.
Baby clothing.
He was right. Baby pants with knee pads on them
yeah.
to protect the baby's
Patches.
knees, crawlers for babies in motion. It's true.
Not a bad idea.
Our tagline was, just because they don't tell you doesn't mean they don't hurt. I would tell the buyers, my generation will not accept our babies crawling on the floor with their knees hurting. and you know what's interesting about that is
It's true. That's interesting.
Well, what's interesting about that is I'm very lucky to have an amazing wife, and we have 5 children, and they're all younger than 6, and I got a lot of babies at home, and a lot of diapers. And the one thing I can tell you is they don't mind crawling on the floor on their knees. It's a horrible idea. And part of what I experienced with Seth over time as I've been seeing him, and also in the past 2 years, is, and I know he has a lot of other superpowers, but his capacity for personal growth and change. And in my opinion, if you're committed to personal growth, there's many ways that you can do things in life. But change, you said the word universe. You want to show gratefulness to the universe? The biggest way is change. Everyone can walk around and talk. Talk is cheap. To actually look internally inside yourself and say, hey, there's this quality about me that I don't like. My wife gave me feedback. My children, which for those of you who have kids, children give a lot of feedback. You just need to listen. They all the time. Daddy, why you're on the phone? Daddy, you're not paying attention. Daddy, there's a lot there. If you take feedback from anyone, colleagues, friends, partners, and you actually think about it and say, you know what, this is something I can change in myself. And then you take the time to practice to actually change it, if it's through a therapist, a teacher, or on your own. And you start growing. And first time it's hard because it's like a muscle, it's like going to the gym, it's hard the first time, but as you practice more and more, it gets easier. And suddenly you take this one quality about yourself and you change it. That's a way to show gratefulness to the universe, because that's hard. Now, once you change one thing, and for anyone here who's ever gone through personal change, you know it's like an onion. You peel one layer, then the next one shows. Once you change one thing, the next thing comes, and the next thing. It's this commitment to change that impressed me. And the truth is, when I met Seth, without going into details, I was very interested in the company within an hour of after we spoke again, and I understood what was happening. And I was even more interested as we started working together and the results. So just so everybody knows, if you're a customer of Conductor, can you raise your hand? Beautiful. And Conductor grew for WeWork our sales by 20% in 2017. Now, that's a huge number considering that we're one of the fastest growing companies in the world right now. So to take on top of what we already were doing and throw another 20% on top of that is unbelievable. It's in the hundreds of millions, and it's real. And we can very clearly know what happened before and what happened after, and it's very clear. And still now Seth will say that everything is done and still been very basic, still just picking up fruits off the floor. We haven't even gotten to the complicated thing, but that's just our personal success. So I was very impressed with the company. But I challenged Seth with a few personal things. And the way, and not knowing that he will ever react or care about what I'm saying, actually not expecting him to change or to care about what I'm saying, because I knew him, but not that well. And then I said something and said, well, do you have an idea of how I could solve that? And I said, well, you can meet this person and that person. And then he calls me, wake up, said, hey, I met this person and I learned this thing and I loved it. Is there anything else? And I just observed how Seth was growing so fast. And as he was growing personally, the business was growing. Suddenly I saw you guys starting to communicate. Suddenly we're talking about the customer and not just the marketing and what they really need, and the fact that you really have to create a real connection between customer and salesperson. And you can do that through marketing. You can tell a story. And as time was moving forward, not only was it growing personally, business was growing. And I realized that if I don't move fast, this thing is going to move too fast. And I think that's one of Seth's superpowers. I can't wait, and this is the beautiful thing about a partnership, I can't wait throughout a partnership to discover many more.
That's amazing.
Amazing.
That's awesome. Thank you. So, I think that's a great testament to our two companies coming together. Without getting into any more of the specifics, because we will find out what the partnership bears, and I think there's a lot of amazing things we're going to do today, and from today on forward. You both have had struggles, though. This didn't just happen. Neither one of you are an overnight success. An overnight success is really 10 years in the making, 6, 7 years.
No, 6. First business when I was 24. I'm 38. 14 years.
Okay. So, for everyone out here who's wondering, 5 kids, 2 kids, life balance, what do you think you've done right? What kept you going in times when it didn't? I mean, I've sat through 10 years with Seth. I know the stuff that's gone on. What has driven you guys? What has driven you guys to this point?
I think it's. I mean, I wrote a story on Tuesday, right? And I talk about this with conductors, but it's every challenge you get in life is something that is meant to be there, and it's meant to be there for a purpose. And every time something went wrong, and every time we had any kind of adversity, what we always did was not look elsewhere. We never pointed our finger. We never blamed some kind of existential thing, and we always said, this is on us. And having that mentality of just always looking outside, and I have a big sign right behind my desk, and it says, one says never give up. And it shows a little frog in the throat of someone that's choked, that's getting choked. And then the frog is trying to save his life. And the other side, it says, look at yourself in the mirror and figure out how you want to improve. And our company historically just always looked inside. We always looked for growth. And what we did over time was just build these incredible muscles. So when the energy came towards us, we were just ready to capture it. And I think that's the core of what's made us really be able to do what we've done.
It's nice, very nice. For me, I have to say it's a few things. First of all, but most important, success is a big word. So let's define it for a second. In my opinion, success is if you're fulfilled, if you're happy, if you have the opportunity to give and receive, if you have friends that tell you the truth and partner that tell you the truth. Of course, they're there with you when you're up, but also when you're down, that they're there for you. And of course, when you're acting great, they love you. But the kind that when you're messing up, be like, hey, dude, that's not cool, and we don't do that this way, and here is why, and you offended that person, and you should apologize to the other. And for me, that's a successful person. It's a person that's able to really be part of all of that. Business comes with it. When you are that type of person, then you attract other people like that to you. Then people want to work with you. Then people want to buy products from you. Then it's really amazing. So for me, that's the first thing about success. And what helped me get there in my personal story is actually my wife, because I was born in Israel, and I was born with a very I deserve mentality, and I had a lot of challenges growing up, very challenging childhood. Something else. Are your parents here?
No, they
Okay,
they're over there.
Hey guys. I had a very challenging childhood. I'm gonna stick to that. It's not easy to raise entrepreneurs, I gotta tell you, and it's not easy as entrepreneurs to be raised because we're so like, Urgh! But it's good for us. So I think as I was growing up, I really thought I deserved, and then I came to America pursuing this fake dream that I thought I said I'll finish the Israeli army, I'll come to America, I had a number of certain millions of dollars I wanted to make now, go back to Israel and get married. I had this whole plan. I came to America and nothing worked. My first business was a failure, and my second business was a failure, and my third business was a failure. I used my sister's money up for the first business, my grandmother's money up for the second business, other people's money for the third, and I have bought both my sister and my grandma multiple homes. And since then. But only, not just of the past actually year or two, and it took about 14 years return on investment. But I was really just going through this country and the city very confused. And then I meet my wife. I was 28. This was 10 years ago. And she looks at me and she goes, literally within 5 minutes, you have a lot of potential, but right now you're full of shit. And I was like, wow. And I said, well, why would you say that? And she said, well, you talk this big game. Meanwhile, we went out to 2. This was the first time I went out to dinner. You didn't even offer to pay for the dinner. I said, well, I'm an entrepreneur. He said, you wanted to split the bill, which he said, it's not a problem, but here in America, it's okay to offer. And then I can choose if I want. And he said, the first time I didn't say anything, but then you did it the second time, so you're obviously broke. And I said, well, it's not that I'm broke. She was much more successful than me at the time at all aspects of the definition of success. And I said, I'm not broke, I'm an entrepreneur. She said, well, my father was an entrepreneur and we lived very well. You must be a really bad entrepreneur. And I said to her, no, it's not that. I had all these stories. She says, well, let me tell you. I just think you don't get the game in life. I think you think it's about money. I think you think it's about winning, and I don't think you define winning correctly. And she's the one who explained to me about giving and receiving, about being part of something greater than yourself, about having the room to be open and grow. And she put her foot down. Not only did she explain all that, she said, if you want to date me, if you want to be with me in a relationship, these are my boundaries. And even though my go-to was like, fuck that. I'm not going to do that. You're going to tell me what to do. In the inside, we have our loud voice and then we have our quiet voice. If you can listen to your quiet voice more and more, that quiet voice knows the answers, but it's sometimes hard to hear. The quiet voice that luckily in that day I listened to said, Adam, there might be something really big here. Maybe it's worthwhile listening. And I did. And the first thing is I gave up the cigarettes, and then I gave up other things that I'm not going to say here on stage. And then she said, you should go to therapy, which I've never done. And I went to a therapist, and then I picked up a spiritual practice. And before you know it, it was a lot of effort on her side. But 3 to 4 years in, as things were starting, and all the time things changed. And as they did, I started pursuing it, because the one thing about, if I see that something works, I'll go right after it and I'll pick it up. And that really is, for me, my biggest part. Since then, surrounding myself by people who tell me the truth, having board members and executive partners, who 2 of them are here in the audience, that tell me when they don't agree and really put the truth in my face. keeping a work-life balance as much as I can when I can, but some days when I don't, being really present at least when I'm there. So even if I could only get my half an hour in, even though I wanted to have 5 hours with the kids, that half hour, making it real, making it present, making it something that's meaningful. And for me, these have been some of the beginning directions, but I think in this partnership is just the beginning. A grain of sand is where we are. We have the whole beach of the world to go to, and we're just one grain of sand.
So that's a great point. And I think I want to make sure everyone in this room gets a sense of this too. Because to many who first read, the press release and ultimately stories out there, it doesn't seem natural, right? These two companies seem very different in essence. You have a software company, you have what is a physical space company, which is doing much more, and in both cases, they're doing much more. So when you think about it, what would you guys, and we're not going to hold you 100% to everything you say on stage, right?
You should. No, you should. No, yes.
Okay,
no,
we're going to hold them to it.
Hold us to it. Hold us to it because words are important.
How do you both want to change the world in this partnership? What do you want to do using this partnership to change the way the world works?
There are no small questions on this stage. No
He did
chit-chat.
say he was going to tell the truth, so let's go.
No little words.
I'll let you go first.
So I think, I
small
touched
thinking.
it. I touched it before, and I'll touch it again. The thing I observed about Conductor as a team and Seth as one of its leaders was the ability to change. And one of the things that I've seen coming out of you guys over the past year and a half is this new narrative about humanizing marketing. And forget the fact that it's $1 trillion asset class, and forget the fact that we can take large pieces of it. Put all of that aside. If we can teach companies a better way to sell the products, and I can tell you the secret right now of how you teach them, to actually create products that make a positive change in people's lives. So you can be any technology company, and I'm not going to use any names, and you can track a lot of information about people. You could take that information and then throw back advertisement at them because you read their email, you know what they're talking about, and now you're going to use that to try to sell something. Or you could build a product that actually takes that information to make those people's lives somehow better. And better could be watching a great piece of content. Better could be going to a movie. Better doesn't have to be, it doesn't mean you have to volunteer right now at the shelter, but just something positive that truly makes it better. If that's what you are teaching companies to do, then customers are not only going to buy products from them, they're going to post about it, they're going to speak about it. It's going to organically flow to the top, which is a lot of you guys, what you guys have been doing for us. And as Conductor starts telling the stories about the customers here and helps you tell the right stories about yourself and helps you come up naturally in the searches, but not only that, and not only organically, but helps you have a product that's viral because of its intention, well, now Conductor has done its job, but what Conductor has really done is it helped change the world because it's changed the narrative, not just of the companies, but of the employees. And it's not enough to change the narrative. The only way what I'm saying here works is if you authentically change as a company. And as companies do, not just change, just that should be your next product. And as you do that, things are going to work better and better. And I do want to say to all the customers here, WeWork's commitment to Conductor has never been bigger. We're going to give more resources. We're going to create more products. We're going to make Conductor be able to help you in many ways that you didn't expect today. Some of them will work for you, some of them won't, but we're going to offer them to you. We're going to also give you the entire suite of services that we can provide. And together with the two, you are going to see that we're going to make it easier, not just to humanize marketing, but help our mission, which is humanize Earth.
My turn now?
That's it.
Tough act to
You know,
follow.
every founder of every company, they started because they saw a problem and they wanted to solve it. And whether it's 5 years later or a century later, the companies have these institutional knowledge. And I just think about a world, if there's $1 trillion, what if some percentage of that, or all of it, was spent on actually taking that institutional knowledge that those companies have, and actually sharing it, helping their customers, using it to educate them, and it's really what we talked about this morning, solving their problems, using that knowledge, making them smarter. And if we turn businesses into educators and communicators, and as Adam said, humanize marketing, the impact that can have on all the companies in the world and all of their personal customers, it's a powerful mission. And I think Adam actually helped us really unlock this mission. I mean, we've been doing this for years, and we've been working with companies, and we've been seeing them look at keywords and try to show up. And as I've talked about this morning, right, like those are human beings. They need help. They want things. And you guys are giving them content and answers and solutions. And when you put those things together, it's a powerful thing. And I'd say much of the keynote from this morning was inspired by our interactions and watching what WeWork has done first in physical space and education and other areas. And marketing is an incredible place to be. When you have a physical presence, you have a digital presence. Those things should work together. Those things should be there, and you should do it in a way that's good for people, good for humans, and it's just sustainable for the long term.
And just to add to that, so we're not confused that what Seth and I are pitching is philanthropy, even though I think we'd make great philanthropy partners. When you do what Seth just said, you actually sell more. You make more money. Yep. Your margins are higher. It works. This works for everybody. This is a win-win across the board, and this is a little bit of our intention.
We talked this morning. It used to be that doing what was best for your customer was different than was doing best for yourself. And we talked about how you get fulfillment by helping. And when you bring those things together, where you actually can do the right thing for the customer, do the right thing for your business, and those things come together, the more it's going to get more energy, and then people will just do more of it. And it's just powerful.
And not only, and as employees, doesn't matter what company we work for, Conductor, WeWork, or any other company that's here, the employee is excited. This is a great place to work. This is the kind of thing that we want to do. I genuinely believe that the we generation will reject anything that's different from what we're talking now over the next 10, 20 years. It's just going to take a second for us to get everyone comfortable with the fact that life is more than just making money. And when you really look at it holistically, it can work very well for everyone. But if you practice this philosophy, you actually also make a lot of money, and there's nothing wrong with that. And I think then it's interesting to see what you do with it and how you leverage that ability of creating income.
Amazing.
That's a great point, and I've seen this similarity just getting to work with WeWork myself personally, as well as obviously having been a conductor so long. What do you guys think are the core elements of making a culture? Like, everyone says the word culture, and everyone says, I want culture in my company. I want my folks to be excited when they go to work in the morning, and I want them to live and breathe our mission. WeWork has a really big mission. So does Conductor. How do you continue to make your folks enthused, and what does that mean?
So, here's how we do it at Conductor, right? We think about it as people first. We think about it as employee first, right? It's the same thing with business first versus customer first. It's employee first. And the culture is often, any company can have beer, and any company can do all kinds of superficial things, but culture really comes into play when it's those hard decisions, right? When it's that person who has that family issue, when it's coming to should I give that guy that feedback, or should I not give them that feedback? How you let people go in your organization? How do you share problems? When there's a problem, do you get in front of the organization and go head on and talk about it? When you make a mistake, do you communicate that mistake, and are you transparent about it, and do you own up to it? Do you take feedback from your employees and actually listen to it? It's about how you think about your people and realizing that while you might have a hierarchy for decision-making purposes, but ultimately your organization is bottoms up, and it's about taking the people who are on the front lines and making things happen and empowering them, and realizing that those are the people that make the business, and really having that be consistent through your whole leadership. I think it's also about when you drift off of your culture, how do you, you hire someone, you hire an executive, and they're not part of your culture. What do you do in that situation, right? Those are the times when it really tests you, and being consistent about it. And that's really what we try to do at Conductor, is focus on the people, realize they're human beings, they're not a person on a spreadsheet, and really realize that they have lives and make them successful.
I think you guys are really good at that. I think what Seth just said, there are a few things that Seth said that WeWork can learn a lot from. There's things that we don't do as well as you guys do, and I've read a few of Seth's blogs, and for example, the one that talks about how you let go of people defines your culture. I think that's a great one. I recommend to read it. It's a great read, and it's true. I've been talking to Seth about the fact that it's different when you have 200 employees to when you have 4,000 employees, but it's only different because of scale, not difference with the intention and how you do it. And then you break it down to small teams, and you go back to that same feeling. And I think culture has become a buzzword, to say a lot of nice words about it, whatever. The action is where it's at. You want to measure culture, measure how many employees are choosing to leave your organization, measure how many employees are choosing to recommend their best friends and family members to join the organization, measure how many employees are in their spare time actually talking about the organization because they're that passionate about it, not because they were told to or because they need to, but because they want to. And those are all great ways to measure culture. At the end of the day, companies of the future that are not going to pay attention to culture are going to have a tremendous problem. I think one of the problems that large organizations have today, and they all come to us as enterprise customers, are our demand for enterprise WeWork, not just space, but powered by we, which is when we go to, if it's IBM or Microsoft or Google, or you can choose 23% of all Fortune 500 companies, and we only started this business line a year and a half ago. They come to us asking for space. They stay because of the culture and experience that their employees feel when they're inside the WeWork spaces.
You could see it. You go into your headquarters, the WeWork World Headquarters, which is at 18th Street, and you walk in there, and there's just people just everywhere. There's a spirit, there's energy, there's actually music playing. And you could just see it in every person that they're just charged up and they've got a mission, and maybe they have a lot of work to do, and maybe they have a lot to get done today, but they're working for a purpose, and it's like one of the most powerful things you ever see. If you've never been there, it's absolutely something you should do.
We're under construction because we're growing very fast. Want to make room for a lot of people. We will be done in a month, and then or a little less, 3 weeks, and then I recommend to come again. I have a question.
That's his way of saying, don't come in now.
Don't come for the next 3 weeks, please, in 2 weeks. Except I have a question for the crowd. There are customers here, and if I was a customer right now and I was happy with my product, and if I wasn't happy, I don't think I would have come here. So I think you have happy customers here that have chosen to come here. I wonder if anyone here has a question for us, because maybe you're worried about something. Because if I was in your shoes, I'd be worried, is my product going to change? Should I expect, what should I expect? Or maybe you have something else that's worrying you. And I'm happy to take a question from the crowd if you have it, and you could tell it to us and we'll repeat it, just to make sure that we heard what's worrying someone here. Or if you're a conductor employee, you're welcome to ask something also. If not, we know how to talk. We can keep talking. We only have another 2 minutes for this. But if there's an interesting question, I'd love to take it.
Great idea.
I have so much lights, it's a little hard to see.
No,
But no, it's okay. I can just, something interesting that happens in large, if you're a conductor employee, just, I'll do this in front of 4,000 people and everyone will raise their hands because we've gotten very comfortable at speaking in public. So feel free, and if not, we can practice it.
Let's do it, people. Get those hands up.
No takers, it's okay. I'm going to say something for, please.
Here you
I
go.
hope it's a customer.
Here you go. Catch us.
So when you bring organizations together, there are invariably differences in direction. That happens. And I'm just wondering what your thoughts are about when this initiative and that initiative are heading in different directions. What's the process to help resolve that?
Which company are you with?
I'm with ThermWorks.
Thank you for asking that question, and I knew that if I pushed it back to the crowd, we're gonna get something good. So that's excellent. That's the right question, I believe. The way we work merged with companies is culture first. The second thing is we look at their mission, not ours. I don't think so. Seth, for those of you who don't know, Conductor has been doing very well for a long time, but extremely well in the past year. Conductor was ready to go do another round, and they would have done it for a very high number, and they would have kept going, and things would have gone well. One of the ways I convinced Seth to join us is because I told him that I want to empower him to go bigger on his own mission. It's not my intention at all to change Conductor's mission because I'm not trying to, because WeWork is not just one business line. We're planning the future. We're 10 years forward, 20 years forward. And in the future, this is a very important business line out of the 10 that we're tackling right now. All we want to do is help him focus his mission and give feedback from the growth that we know. There's a difference with now at 200 employees going to 500 employees in Conductor. That's a challenge, and that's a challenge that we're very familiar with, and there's a lot of feedback that we can give there. When it comes to PR, when it comes to marketing of their own, when it comes to smart pricing, there's a lot of different things, and us being a customer for the past year and a half and knowing how that feels on that side gives us a lot of insight. So I think the goal is going to be for the team to only be empowered. We're not intending to change their mission at all. The only resources we want from them is we have 4 missions right now. Flatiron, which is our online education school. We have WeWork, we have WeLive, and we have Meetup. We want Conductor teams embedded in each one of those products. Of course, we believe in Conductor. We would never buy something we didn't think is the best product in the market. So we want the product embedded in those 4 teams. And except for that, that's the only thing I asked Seth to do. If everything else, I said you have all the resources you need and you can run forward. And that is the intention. And I hope to receive over time feedback from you guys. I hope that you will feel, and I know you will, and it might take us a few tries, that by us coming together, you have a better product, you have better customer service, you have more offering, and even more important than that, that as conductor, the product and the team, and as we work, we're now able to help you fulfill your missions in a much faster, much more real way. And I want you to measure us with numbers. I know the words sound nice. I want you to measure us with numbers. And that's the intention.
Great question.
That's great.
We're good.
Any more questions out there?
I think that's such a good question. You can.
That was an awesome question.
That was such a good question. You could close with that.
Thank you so much. Thank Adam.
Thank you.